Ladies and gentlemen, let me put you through the mind of someone who experienced feeds last night. Number one, because of a convention, everything got pushed back about an hour and 15 minutes. So everybody's just waiting for feeds. They're clamoring for them. We don't know what we're going to get in this box of chocolates. It's like Christmas. We open our present, feeds begin. It's already drama. Not only did we find out that Angela's the HOH, no one saw that really coming. There's a 9-person alliance that Angela is currently in. Feels like a massive ceasefire is happening. The women are already at odds. Leah, it seems like she doesn't even know that Mackenzie, who goes by many other names. They're calling her Mac online. They're calling her MJ. She doesn't even know that Mackenzie wants the smoke with her because of Matt. Mackenzie's talking all this stuff about wanting a guy 6'5", but she immediately folded once she saw Matt. He's already rocking her hats. I mean, bro, what is going on? There's another 6-person alliance called TBD. My boys Joseph and Quinn are cooking something. Ladies and gentlemen, kick your feet up and get yourself a cold beverage, because in the first live feeds update of the season, entitled First Night Frenzy, we're gonna break down this and more, and I'm so excited to be back. Let's get it cracking. It's time. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the critically acclaimed Pop the Trunk podcast, now Patreon exclusively sponsored Hall of Fame, Recency Bias Radio, for the first live feeds update of the season. And since there is no rewind or flashback feature, these are coming at a premium, and these definitely hold a lot more value and weight. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had to wait a lot last night. But wow, was it worth the wait. Now listen, I know as purists of this game, we hate jumping in late because now we're in catch-up mode. But let's be honest, this is what makes the Big Brother community feel, or the Big Brother experience, I should say, feel very similar to the mole, where we don't know who the mole is. We all think we know who the mole is, and we all have to basically become the Dina internet sleuths, if you will, and figure out this mystery on the fly together as a community. And this is where I believe this season is doing a great job. No one cares about any of the low-hanging fruit anymore. No one cares about what they had a problem with in the prior season. In fact, all I'm seeing online is people just happy to have the game back. Happy to not have an alliance based on one walk of life anymore. Now you have melting pot alliances, and you have certain players who have infiltrated all of them who are successfully playing both sides, like a Joseph and Quinn. But then you have players who are playing both sides, but a bit more sloppy, like a Chelsea, like a Leah, right? So there are definitely nuances to this game thus far, and you can't just write someone off right now. Now, the one player that we can say for a fact is in trouble, in deep, deep water, is Kenny, the cop who is 52 years old. Everyone thought he had the skill set that would make him a world beater. But it feels as if now that Angela is the HOH, and because she is a superfan HOH, they have a different type of approach towards asking questions. How many times in the past, I believe when Kylan was HOH, during Big Brother 23, he had a similar situation where he asked everyone a set of questions and he tried to figure out their games through the question that were asked. Well, one of the questions that Angela specifically asked for everyone to provide her an answer is, just name one target that you have. You don't got to give me your entire game, but name a target. The majority of players, the consensus, all pointed towards Kenny. Now, we can pontificate on this for a second because I think overall, for Angela's win conditions and her best game, she should not, as the second oldest player on this cast, be taking out the oldest player on this cast. I think that is the wrong approach. I think she is better off taking out a young gun like a Matt or like a Mackenzie. I think that is Angela's best play. Currently, within this 9-person alliance, which I shall name, Cam, Chelsea, Leah, Joseph, Cedric, Brooklyn, Angela, Quinn, and Rabina. Now, Rabina laying low right now. T-Core laying low right now. Tucker seems to be rubbing people the wrong way more and more. And it doesn't feel like the ladies are playing a game that's strictly about targeting men, or the men are playing a game necessarily as a whole that is strictly about targeting the women. It feels like Matt is kind of has his own Frenchie's Angels dynamic, where clearly Leah and Mackenzie both have the hots for him. And he's trying to keep them together instead of at odds with one another. But that won't last very long because Leah is also part of the 9-person alliance, so she doesn't necessarily need the 6-person alliance. I believe Chelsea, Leah, Quinn, and Joseph are currently the most insulated players in the game because they're in the alliance that was made in the storage room last night, and they're also part of the 9-person alliance that is designed to keep everyone undercover. Now, here's the thing, though. Right now, feeds suggest that there's going to be possibly 4 noms. I can't circumvent or triangulate if they mean 3 initial noms and the possibility with veto for there to be a 4th one after the fact. Plus, we have this America's veto thing, and we don't know if there's going to be 2 vetoes played this week. We don't know if there's going to be 2 veto comps played this week because Matt was speaking as if he's nommed, then he has 2 chances to save himself. And that confused a lot of fans as well. Now, what you got to understand is before the HOH comp, a lot of people were making a lot of empty promises to each other. Apparently, Kenny promised a lot of the ladies, specifically Leah, and he promised Angela. He promised both of them safety had he won. Now, Leah's perspective on this is, I never promised him anything back, so I don't feel bad for Kenny. Angela, I think she's more of the same thought process of, if I'm going to be week 1 HOH, I'm taking out an easy target and I'm blending back in. Now, for the Cedric and Chelsea fans out there, this is why I kept my hope. This is why I didn't crash out last night, baby. Huh? Where there's a will, there's a way. And I knew that Cedric the Marine could stop the Stone Age. You feel it? Dig me, coach. First of all, Chelsea, you're playing exceptionally under the circumstances that you're in. Last night, I said you needed to hustle the most, and you're in both alliances on both sides. You're hustling the most. Just don't overplay like your friends Matt and Mackenzie. All right? They're tripping over there. And that's where I want to start off my live feed coverage. It all kicked off with Mackenzie going off. It seems like Mackenzie, a.k.a. MJ, I'm just going to say MJ and try to cut it short to, save time for the rest of these rants since that's what she's being referred to on feeds. But I just want to create that correlation. MJ is very close with Chelsea, all right? Now, to my knowledge, Chelsea has not let MJ know anything about that 9-person alliance. So Chelsea is doing a good job of not feeding too much information to sloppy players. She's allowing them to believe what they want to believe, but it does feel like in her heart, she wants to be more loyal to Mackenzie. From what I gather, Mackenzie and Leah both resent Angela, and they both can clearly tell Angela's controlling the other side, but Chelsea is part of that other side. So for Mackenzie to be so sure of this, I wonder, is it because Chelsea did out that other side, or is it just because Mackenzie is so good at reading what is obvious to her side? That's an interesting tidbit that we need to watch out for on Sunday's episode. Also, remember, last night's episode, Leah was talking about how she wanted to work with Quinn. There's no coincidence here to me that Quinn and Leah are both in both major alliances thus far. Not only that, it appears Angela promised Matt he wouldn't touch the block this week. So now Matt, he believes if she breaks his word to him, it is legit the first sign of war. Not only that, T-Core is being used as a decoy to throw Matt off the scent because a lot of people think Matt's loyalty is to Kenny. So right now, Matt is being told the noms this week are likely going to be T-Core, Lisa, and I think he's under the assessment it'll be Chemo. Now, based off what I have seen thus far, it's most likely going to be Kenny, Lisa, and Chemo. It feels like the majority of players are sick of Kenny, but we have not seen why. Now, here's the thing. A lot of fans online are rejoicing over the fact that Kenny's the first target. And I'm going to explain and really break down the mindset of a super fan and why they're rejoicing over this. Number one, you have to understand. Kenny has an overpowered skill set that a lot of people believe does not keep the playing field leveled if he's around. So for a lot of fans, they just want to see the cop archetype not be in the game anymore. Number two, I think a lot of fans can clearly tell that the Matts, the McKenzies, are bringing the entertainment value. The Kennys are relatively boring right now, if I'm being honest. Because of that, I think people would rather see a boring player go than have an entertaining player go so soon and feeds suffer as a result of it. So those are my early takes on why people probably prefer Kenny leaving before anyone else. Now, I'll take a Lisa departure. I ain't tripping. Huh? Because if Kenny got all these people angry, I can create the argument he's the perfect shield for Angela, who's also older, right? So what you have to understand is Brooklyn, right now, she's playing the best way she can in this circumstance. She's not necessarily playing both sides, but I don't believe she's a target of the other side necessarily. But Brooklyn is really pushing the, hey, we're mom's card. Let's make history. A mom needs to wins this game for once. And there's people online saying, oh, why isn't Brooklyn talking more about being a native? You have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why Brooklyn isn't discussing that is because that's not how she can resonate with Angela. What does Angela, what in her life experience can relate or correlate to being a native? Nothing. But she can relate to being a mom. She is just trying to create a parallel so her and Angela stay on the same wavelength throughout the game. Very smart gameplay, very safe, very consistent gameplay that she won't get tripped up applying or initiating at any point of the game. But it feels like Brooklyn is really trying to gas up Angela to take a bigger shot at a Matt, overtaking the relatively safe pick of taking out a Kenny. Because you have to also think, I mean, Brooklyn's a mom, Kenny's a father. You wouldn't want to see a parent go so soon because that starts the trickle-down effect of parents going, right? So I could see a lot of people believing, hey, if we believe a mom should win, maybe we should have more dads in the jury who will understand why a mom should win. That's interesting. And that's just my way of providing some more transparency for the Brooklyns of this world and even the Angelas. I think Angela has a fantastic read on this game. I think she has very high upside, like I said last night. I think her ability to suss out who was in that storage room too damn long was some of the funniest thing I ever seen. Matt, oh, we got to discuss you, bro. I don't know whether I should applaud Quinn for playing so well or if I should roast Matt for playing so stupid. I think it should be a mixture of both, if I'm being fair. Because while Quinn just stands there, Matt just tells him everything about his game. You know, when Quinn and Matt was in the storage room alone at the beginning, all right, now mind you, Matt was in that storage room for damn near 2 hours. He lost his damn mind. I'm like, bro, you're going to get cabin fever. You got to get out of there, huh? You got to get cabin fever, right? So what ends up happening is Matt exposes the fact that Leah approached him and Mackenzie, MJ, with a final 3 deal. So now Quinn is aware, and understand, Quinn and Leah are playing both sides. So I don't think Quinn at any point near in the near future is going to out Leah for this. But it's just the idea that Quinn has so much information at his disposal right now. The type of information that can definitely determine who he wants to truly roll with for the long game. If Leah's already overplaying enough to do a final 3 with these guys, that might give Quinn some pause and go, I don't know if I want to lock in with her the rest of the way. Maybe I just want to use her up to a certain point and then let her go, right? But that's not the only problem. When Leah and MJ and Chelsea eventually come into the same storage room with Quinn and with Matt, Matt exposes the fact that he was offered a final 2 by Tucker. So now he's already thrown Tucker under the bus. He's managed to throw Leah under the bus before she showed up in the storage room. I mean, literally, he's loose lip sinks battleships. And what I'm concerned about is he's entertaining, but if he doesn't calm down, he's going to go home before Kenny does. Relax, fam. Relax. Like, literally, ladies and gentlemen, I was so sad. Like, Like, real talk, I was so sad when I first started to realize that our boy was starting to play bad. Like, my first reaction to Matt playing like crap was this.
No! Why you do that? That's my guy!
That was basically my reaction. And sorry for the people if that was too loud. I'm sorry. But that was my reaction. I was like, oh, no, Matt. So you got to understand, Matt is playing sloppy because he thinks currently Quinn is 100% on his side. I just don't understand why you said all those things. Why give up a final three? Why give up a final two unabated for absolutely no reason when it does nothing to help your game? Also, I'm confused why a player like Matt, who seems to not get the concept of the game, keeps throwing it out there that Kenny doesn't get the game. Right? Hey, bro, I think you need to look in the mirror a bit because the way you're giving up all your damn alliances, I can create that argument about you. So far, I ain't seen much about Kenny to say how bad he is, but if everyone is okay with letting him go, it does imply he also isn't the best. So, currently on feeds, there's just a lot of drama. A lot of drama we're not really privy to the origin of. Cedric. We got to get to Cedric. I think Cedric is doing a wonderful job of staying close to Angela. It appears he established a really great relationship with Angela early on before she ever won HOH. A lot of people are saying that they have like a Sari and Izzy relationship. I'm not going to go that deep with it, but I will say though, just like I will give Chelsea plenty of props for being downgraded such to a point, and now she's kind of cooked, I'm really digging what Cedric's doing. You know, I remember seeing when Feeds first returned, first thing we saw was Brooklyn talking to Cedric. And I remember like, ooh, excuse me. I remember thinking, ooh, okay, the sister's working with the brother. This is a great look. This is before we knew about the 9-person alliance thing. But it really showed me that Brooklyn's loyalty within this 9 is more so towards Cedric, is more so towards Angela. It's probably more towards maybe a player like Cam. That's the way I look at it right now. It feels like Brooklyn is more so loyal to those entities based off what I've seen. Maybe even a Joseph, right? But Cedric right now is doing a great job of being emotional support for the current HOH. I don't really see him touching the block this week. I think Angela adores Cedric, but it does feel like Matt is starting to grow a bit suspicious of Cedric because he believes his behavior is changing. Once again, we haven't seen his behavior from the first 2 days because we didn't get feeds, so we don't know what Matt's talking about. And based on the way Matt is playing so badly, maybe Matt doesn't know what he's talking about. All right? I'm just keeping it real. I mean, if you got to get hit with a straight, you got to get hit with a straight, bro. You know, this is where no one is safe from criticism. So, if I had to keep it a bean with y'all, okay, here's the thing. The have-nots appear to be Cam, Tucker, and Quinn. Let me state that. Angela on feed specifically said this is a good thing because Cam and Quinn can be her eyes and ears in the have-not room to spy on Tucker. That tells me Angela does not trust Tucker as far as she can throw him. And if I'm being fair, Ace Ventura, you are playing a very bad game so far. It feels like no one really trusts you. It feels like, excuse me. It feels like you're not this smooth guy that you really cracked yourself up to be. And the fact that you already offered a final 2 to Matt, which he outed to a group of people in an alliance you're not even included in, it really goes to show even Matt doesn't want to rock with you. He looks at you as damaged goods. So here I was, coming into this season, assuming a Tucker, assuming a Kenny would be on easy mode when it feels like both of them are in the worst positions in the house amongst all the men. So this game is ever changing and it is everlasting. Excuse me. But what I really appreciate is the fact that all of these players are playing their games and not what the Hive Minds game, not the Hive Minds game, right? Right now the projected noms are likely, they're subject to change. The nomination ceremony is today, but it's likely to be Kenny, Lisa, and Chemo. Chemo seems to be thrown out there as a pawn. It really feels like Angela just wants Kenny gone. That's what the feel is. But if Brooklyn keeps working on her, and if one of the noms win veto, I really do believe Matt could get backdoored this week. Now, is there any other player I failed to mention? Some of these players are relatively quiet, so there's nothing to mention. Um, so if I had to say T-Core, Rubina, Chemo, uh, and Lisa, relatively unknown players. Um, Joseph, though, I really love the game Joseph is playing. He seems to be the guy everyone on both sides loves to come to, similar to Quinn. Joseph is gaining information just like Quinn is on the other side. It feels like this is going to be similar to a Mighty Mitch versus a Tim from BB Can back in the day. What was that, BB Can 4? It feels like this could be a BB Can 4 kind of like social game clash because both of these guys are super fans. Both of these guys really excel at playing slowly. Both of these guys don't come off as massive threats, and both of these guys are highly trusted and highly appreciated by the majority of the house. It's going to be interesting as time continues to move around to see how Quinn and Joseph continue to play. But as of right now, I can without a doubt say they are number one and number two. They're either 1A or 1B on everyone's power rankings. Now, if I had to rank the rest of the power rankings, I think Chelsea, Leah, and Brooklyn are probably the three best players after that. The reason being why I believe it's Chelsea, Leah, and Brooklyn is, well, Chelsea and Leah, because they're also in the two larger alliances. They're the only other two players besides Quinn and Joseph who can say that they're in TBD, which is the alliance that has Quinn, MJ, Chelsea, Leah, Joseph, and Matt in it. That's the Storage Room Alliance. They're the only other players other than Quinn and Joseph to be in that alliance and be in the 9-person alliance. That allows them to be privy to twice the amount of information, which of course gives them the same amount, gives them twice as many ways to trip up and mess up their game in the social game department and tell too much information, but it also can keep them out of trouble if they play it smart. Now, based on my count, the players who currently are in desperate need of either power next week or for something to change next week are Matt, Tucker, Lisa, Kenny, T-Core, Chemo, and Mackenzie. Now, what you have to understand is one side kind of wants T-Core on the block. Angela has made it her personal goal. She's not nominating no black woman this week. Y'all got Angela screwed up. And honestly, this is why the black community rock with you, Angela. You a real one. She's a real one, coach. All right? Listen, they calling her the mama of the house. And honestly, I think she's doing a great job of protecting people. And I just think at the end of the day, she is going to be able to have her way this week. Now, if there truly is two different competitions to save themselves, then I do think there's a high percentage chance if Kenny is thrown up, he still could be saved. But right now, it feels like no one wants to win the veto and save him. He's going to have to save himself. So Kenny is really behind the 8-ball. Also, doesn't feel like anyone really trusts Lisa very much. Feels like every time Lisa walks around, people get a bit more skeptical. I saw Lisa having a conversation with Cedric, and I remember Cedric was just talking about how, my game is kind of Jurassic right now because it's been downgraded. I don't really want to stand out, make myself into a target. And I was watching Brooklyn in the room with them, and she was doing certain things with her face trying to tell Cedric, hey, man, you're saying too much, man. Cut it short, And it was interesting how Cedric basically cut the conversation short after that. It tells me Brooklyn is playing a puppet master type game, and she does have a lot of influence, not only over Angela, but over Cedric. And if you have those two players listening to you a lot, you are in a fantastic position. Keep in mind, Brooklyn before the season, all she wanted to do was control a showmance and hide behind it. Currently, the showmances are on the other side of the game in Mackenzie and Matt, and she's still staying locked in where she's at. That shows me pivoting prowess, all right? And that shows me her realizing, maybe that might not work this season because I might not get along with these younger whippersnappers, all right? So this is why I rank Brooklyn in my top 5 as well. I think she's playing an exceptional game. I think she's doing everything she should be doing. And if she could convince Angela to take out Matt week 1, the live feeders ain't going to like it. But I think it's the best move for Angela's game to take out Mackenzie or Matt now, right? If you let both of them stick around, oh, they're definitely clapping back, right? And it just remains to be seen just how close Matt and Kenny truly are. But it feels like everyone just assumes Kenny is locked in with the boys. And maybe this is a reason why Angela wants Kenny gone so bad. Maybe she feels slighted because the elder statesman, the other elder statesman, the one in the 50 club, maybe she feels like he's not loyal enough to her. That's possible as well. All right. But from where I stand, it feels like Kenny, Lisa, and Kima are the ones most likely to touch the block. Matt, you can bet a little bit money on the side that maybe he can touch the block. But for now, it feels like those are the safe noms, at least initially, until they traverse this first week of AI, until they get past these comps. That seems to be the strategy that players want to play. Now, Cedric, this man said more than enough information to Joseph, more than enough information to certain players that tells me he doesn't trust Matt at all. A few players have caught Matt in a lie. So Matt's game really isn't as good as he thinks it is. He thinks he's on to Angela, but really Angela's side is completely on to him. I think Matt needs to really lay low, and I think him revealing how quickly people were willing to make a deal with him with the final 3 in Leah and a final 2, of course, with Tucker. I think all Matt did was show how much influence he has over people so soon, which makes him even more of a threat to a Quinn, which makes him even more of a threat to a Joseph. With those things considered, I think Matt, if he's not careful, will be Shadow Realm bound. All right? But ladies and gentlemen, that pretty much was my initial thoughts on the first night of feeds. We are going to definitely build upon these layers and layers and layers. But right now, the biggest takeaway you need to have is those players are it's already pretty much a split house. There's certain players who are kind of just floating on the side, but for the most part, it feels like there's a showman's trying to rally the troops, and it felt as if when feeds first came, it was young versus old. This isn't young versus old, right? Because Cedric, he's 21 and he's working with people who are mothers, right? So I think this is mainly just who gets along versus who doesn't get along. And at the end of the day, right now, Angela winning that HOH really upset the apple cart of what a lot of these younger players thought that they would be able to do in this house. So now we get to really see the strategic chops of them. And this is what makes the game great. When you have an unexpected HOH win, you get to see who really was dotting their I's and crossing their T's prior to that win. See, I always say, don't count anyone out. Make sure you circle the block and get to know people early on in the game. Because if someone unexpected wins an HOH, now you're behind on not only information about the current HOH holder, but you're also behind on trying to figure out what to tell them to steer them in a direction they'll actually go down. I believe this is the conundrum a lot of players have, and I believe the one thing T-Core has going for her is the fact that she comes off genuine, and because she's just laying low for now, I don't think anyone sees her as a threat, which should buy her some time. So, once again to reiterate in closing, the top 5 after the first night frenzy of Big Brother 26 is none other than Quinn, Joseph, Chelsea, Leah, and Brooklyn. I think those 5 right now are rising as power players. They're not doing too much, but they're doing just enough, and they're showing the ability to be able to balance 2 alliance worth of information and not getting crossed up by it. That tells me these are competent players. But I will say this, the players that were in that storage room as long as they were last night, which Leah participated in, which Chelsea participated in, but it was mainly MJ and Matt's fault. Let's be clear here. That's why I'm not really penalizing them too much. Y'all can't be in that storage room too long anymore, Leah, Chelsea, and Quinn. Y'all can't entertain these 2 like that, huh? You can't. You got to wait until the veto results and all that stuff first, right? Don't let those players drag you down, because that 6-person alliance just might. And the one thing that I think benefits Joseph is that he was included in that 6-person alliance that you see at the bottom of this thumbnail, but Joseph didn't have to be in the storage room to secure the deal. That's great for Joseph. That says his game is so good right now, people trust him enough to basically put their hands in and just honorarily be like, oh, Joseph's part of this. That says whatever Joseph's been doing, he's been cooking something, coach. The Blockbuster video clerk is not socially awkward. In fact, he's socially adept. And if y'all ain't careful, he's going to be coming for you next. I'm Dave Smith for Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And this was the 5th rant of the season entitled First Night Frenzy. So far, so good. I'm excited to see what Night 2 entails. Don't forget to become a patron today, because every week won't have these live feed updates at such a high rate. But hopefully you enjoyed this one, so please smash that like button and subscribe. Alright, and I'll see you on the flip side. Until next time. Well done, Angela. I'm impressed.